Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today I will be interviewing a very special character actress, one who's from New York, and you've seen her in many, many movies and TV shows. You know her face, you don't know her name. Her name is Candice Azzara. She played Dom DeLuise's girlfriend in Fatso, Rodney Dangerfield's wife in Easy Money. She was also in The World's Greatest Lover with Gene Wilder. She had a recurring role on Rhoda. So many great roles. I'm having her on the show today to talk about her career, and she would also like to get to know me as well too on the podcast. So we're going to be talking about our mutual journeys, her career and our mutual journeys and what have you. It's going to be pretty cool. So yeah, here is my interview with Candice Azzara. Hi, Candice.
Hi, Tommy. Comic. When did you give yourself that name?
Well, it's not really a nickname. It's just my email because my real last name Kovac was taken. So I just decided to do like a wordplay pun for my email address.
Oh, I see. You mean your name is taken?
Yeah, because there's so many Tommy Kovacs out there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I never met another one.
My writing partner, there's a Mike Connolly with two L's, and then there's another, I think a baseball player. I don't know one thing from another. I don't know one ball from another. But I think a baseball player, Michael Conley. I know it's something. You have to be careful because people are going to, mistake you for someone else.
Yeah, and also I get my name misspelled a lot.
Oh yeah, it's a great name too, Kovac. That's a funny name. The name. Well, wait a second. There was a comic. Wasn't there a comic long ago? Yeah, I think I loved him. What the heck was his name?
Yeah, Ernie Kovacs.
Oh, I loved Ernie Kovac.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ernie Kovac. That's right.
Yeah, people think
that show. Remember, he would play the Sauerbraten News or something like that.
Yeah.
Sauerbraten. I don't know. I took out a lot of his tapes when I was studying about comedy and all that. So what's happening?
Oh, nothing much. I thank you for taking the time today because I've always thought of you as one of the great character actresses.
Oh well, I'm always loving to share. In fact, one of the girls that came to see us at the book signing, we wrote a book. I don't know if you know it.
I haven't.
We wrote the book, God, Please Give Me Patience and Hurry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know about it.
I remember you telling me about it on Facebook, but I haven't.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. And we did a book signing at Barnes & Noble in New York. And this girl came up to me, and she really, wanted to know about acting and everything. I said, well, I don't have that much time, but maybe once a month I could give you some. I don't teach. I just share my experience because I feel like everyone has to get their own technique. They get it from this and that, and then they form their own.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to be an individual or else you just be a clone,
Yeah.
And so I've been doing that. I just started with her, and the most of the questions were, how do you get into show business? I didn't give them that information. No, I don't mind.
Yeah.
But you have to know your craft. That's the most important, knowing your craft and owning it.
Yeah.
And I always feel like a beginning. I do lessons almost every day. I know it sounds crazy, but I study a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I have right now. I have to get some papers together, and I recorded about 20 tapes of acting.
Mm-hmm.
And I read from. I love only the best. The Russian teachers, and I read it to classical music, and I put some prayers in.
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm doing, say, opening a mail or something, I have a lesson. If I'm in the car, I have a lesson.
Yeah.
If, cooking or something, I have a lesson. But the mind is very lazy, and you have to keep it going.
Right.
So, and anyway, I'm talking so much. You talk now. I want to know about you.
That's okay. And stuff. What would you like to know?
Well, I want to know what is your goal for your craft, and how did you get started, and what is your place in the industry?
Well, stand-up is just one of the things I do. I did a little bit of stage acting in high school, and...
Well, anything is good, anything is good.
Yeah.
I just treasure everything, I think, whether it's in high school and grandma, I started when I was born, I think. But, I mean, anything. Because your mind is a computer, and it gets all that information what you did.
Right.
It's very exciting, So you like stand-up comedy? I think that is... I was married to a stand-up comic, and I grew up with stand-up comics. And I think that is a calling, because it's the hardest thing I've ever seen anyone do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, I don't know. But I think it's a calling. It has to be a love. You know Rodney Dangerfield. Right?
Of course.
And he had that love for that audience. He had to have that comic thing. I mean, and that was his goal. See, I'm not a stand-up comic because I don't even get jokes.
Yeah.
I don't. I really don't. I just try to do everything as straight as possible and make comedy choices. And that's another thing I found out about. But stand-up comedy is a calling.
Mm-hmm.
So if you love it, do you love it? I mean, it's very painful sometimes. Do you love it?
I love doing it, but like the process and like the business side of it, it drives me crazy.
Yeah, I think that's what happened to my ex. He died. But because sometimes the comics would get together at at the Improv in New York, and they would try their jokes. And I remember one guy saying, "No, that's not funny." Right after his joke, and they would just try to support themselves. Then they belonged to a comedy group. Joe Bologna was in it, J.J. Barry, Ron Carey, a lot of people that were starting out, and they have a whole different mentality because I don't have that. I don't have that. I really think you're born for certain things. But what is it that you like about stand-up comedy?
I just like, the whole thing about going up on stage and saying whatever on your mind, and just making people laugh. I love to hear people laugh, but
Wait. What do you mean say whatever's on your mind?
Well, that's what comedians do. They say
these comics are very disciplined on finding out what's funny.
Yes.
They repeat those jokes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But they write. The writing is very, writing the jokes was like, oh my God, that's the key. I know my writing partner worked with Bob Hope when he was like 22, and the main thing was the writers for him.
Mm-hmm.
The writers. And I remember I was at the Amundsen. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's a theater downtown here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I met Lucille Ball there because her friend was in the play, Mary Wicks. And I said, I really loved your craft, your work. And she said, the writers. And, and the writing is so important. Right now we're writing a TV comedy series, and my partner is more intellectual, and I'm more instinctive, and I hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And together we, but it really is a trial and error thing when you go out there.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and if you love it, and you believe in it, and if it's God's will for you, it'll work out. It's just a different journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how long have you been doing it?
I've been doing it 13 years.
Oh, that's not that long.
Yeah, I was doing it as a hobby for the first 9, and then I had a car accident, and that changed my perspective on life. And now I've been, trying to pursue it now and stuff. I haven't gone on stage much in the last 2 years that I've been up here in Redding, California, helping my mom pay the rent and stuff. But when I get down to Los Angeles later this year, I'm gonna do my best to get stage time every night.
Yes, and also I want to suggest something. I mean, I'm an actress. I'm not a stand-up comic, so I don't know. Although my friend, her name was Harriet Rose, she asked me to do a story, and I said, "Oh, I don't do stand-up stuff."
Mm-hmm.
So I said, "She said, just do a story. I'm having a woman's night." I said, "All right." So I wrote out something, and it really turned out very funny. It really did, but it's not anything I want to do. I have to have a desire, because the desire motivates me.
Right.
It's not anything. Everyone says, "Oh, you're stand-up comic." No. I brought a vacuum cleaner hose in there because my mother used to listen upstairs to the vacuum cleaner hose and have chopped up holes in the ceiling. I don't even want to go into that, but it was very funny. But it didn't matter to me because I wanted to go back to my doing what I want. Because if you do what you want, you're going to go up and down and out, and just like a roller coaster. But at least you're doing the thing that you love. And I tried a comedy seminar, and that was good. And, everyone wants to know how to get into show business. But I said, I really don't want to do this. And then I tried also coaching, and I just gave it up. I said, it's not anything I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you want to do something, it motivates you.
Right.
And also, I just want to suggest something.
Go right ahead.
I suggest different things to actors, but as a comic, I don't know how it works, and I don't even want to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
But I happen to love the radio shows of Gracie Allen and George Burns.
Oh, me too.
And W.C. Fields, and also, who else? Jack Benny.
Yeah.
And don't ask me why. I just listen to them.
Yeah.
I don't even analyze it. I just listen to them, and something happens magically in my mind. I don't know. I don't want to explain it, and I don't want to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
But I really believe that right now, your preparation before you come here. Also, I want to suggest some music.
Mm-hmm.
Music is very. I've got my niece into the music from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
The characters, all my characters have music. I choose music. But comedy music is very funny. Like, if you listen to a show, there's something very funny about the music. And when I was working with James Burrows, you heard of him?
Oh, yeah, Cheers.
Yeah. Well, he discovered me in New York and introduced me to his father.
Mm-hmm.
And then I worked with him on a show, and then I worked with him on Carol in the City. And before the show, before we did anything, he played this funny, uplifting music to get the cast in that. And I said, God, he knows. See, we all get the same thing. So if you could listen to music, I'm not talking about this rock stuff, something funny that makes you, helps up your rhythm, gives you an energy.
Right.
Music is very, very powerful. Like, even when I wanted to do a comedy scene, I said, this is an opera. But, and I said, but it's like a tragic opera. And so I just listen. And as I said, I don't analyze it, but I listen. Mm-hmm. And something happens to me. And also there is I get so excited about all this information. But there is a thing called Indigo Dreams, Indigo Dreams. It's a CD. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I learned very, very much is relaxation and breathing. And this thing I use a lot for, it gives you a whole course on visualization. And you can get it on, it's called adult relaxation, but it's very good to get your mind into visualizing. Because everything is imagination.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have that, imagination has to be constantly developed. And indigo dreams will teach you, they have a positive thing, a success thing first. But they also, the breathing and relaxation, because if you go on the stage tense, you shut your forces down. And Lee Strasberg was very big on that. If there's anything I learned from him, it was the relaxation.
Mm-hmm.
But you're relaxed is something that comes out of your subconscious. It's very powerful. So right now, you could be studying while you're working, while you're doing anything. Just by listening, having the people around you. I'm talking about, the tapes and whatever, Gracie Ellen and all that, and especially W.C. Fields. W.C. Fields has a fantastic comedy timing, and you listen to him, and he is an excellent listener.
Mm-hmm.
So is Gracie Allen. In fact, last night I was going over a bio of Gracie Allen, and they said and I knew what they were talking about. She made the character feminine and a very good listener.
Yeah.
George Burns said when she was, when we were filming, she says, "What's that red light on for?" He said, "Well, that's because the camera is on you." She says, "But I don't even know where the camera is. So I don't want to see that red light, so they had to hide it."
Yeah.
So she just wanted to focus on him because she's an excellent listener. But I think with the both of them, subconsciously you hear how she was a great listener, and her timing was unbelievable. Really a work of art. But you learn by learning from the greats.
Yeah.
And you don't know how, but that's how you learn. And not jump, because I used to study opera in New York. I have operatic voice, but I don't want to be an opera singer. And my teacher said, "You must listen to only the best, because if you watch enough junk, the junk starts to look good."
Yeah.
You have to be careful. So, anyway, but right now you can do a lot. I'm always giving people homework. No, I really do. I really am. And also, that's for actors. And when I was working with Carol Kane, she said, "How come you're so happy?" I said, "Well, I love my craft and I study comedy." And she says, What do you mean study comedy?" So I said, "Well, it is a craft." And I gave her this book, The Craft of Comedy. Well, she didn't stop reading it. She was with it a day and night, and then she got tears after that.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I was working with Peter Coyote, he was having trouble, and I said, "Peter, can I talk to you?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, there's a lot of things about comedy that even though the writer writes certain things, you don't make that choice. You make a comic choice." And I said, "If you read this book by Athene Saylor, it's for actors,
Mm-hmm.
Craft of Comedy, you will see." And then there's a thing on Chekhov that teaches you about what is drama, what is clowning, what is comedy, what is tragedy. And he teaches you the differences.
Yeah.
And so Peter, because Peter I knew didn't know the craft of comedy. He didn't. I could tell. I know when people know it or not. And anyway, I just thought I'd share some of that with you.
I appreciate that. But I did a lot of homework on you, and I was curious, going back to the beginning, did you fall in love with acting early on?
No. I didn't want to be an actress at all. I was in acting since I was a child on stage, because I was a natural, and I was a comedian, and I didn't want to, I wanted to be like my older sister. I want to be a lady. I don't want to be laughed at. Well, you're supposed to laugh. You're doing comedy, right? So I decided I have another talent, an artist. I wanted to be like Michelangelo. And I thought I'll be just a serious artist. But then I went away with my ex-husband in the Army, and there was only one thing to do, and that was to try for a theater group. So I tried out, and I got in, and I said, I think God's saying to me, I think you should be an actress. And I said, yeah, I'm just going to study. So, and that's it. I don't think I'm going to be it. But I went into, as soon as I walked into that room of Gene Frankel's, I can't explain it. I knew I was home. I said, I think I belong here. And then I auditioned for him, and I got in the class. And he put me off Broadway in 6 months. And I said, oh, shit. They're going to be pushing me because they see a talent, and they just want to push you. And I didn't want it. I just wanted to learn. So I was off Broadway, and then someone gave me another off-Broadway play. And I was, performing, but I really just wanted to stay in class and study. And so one of my teachers said, you better get out of class. I studied with another teacher. You better get out of class. I said, why? I don't know enough. He said, you'll never think you know enough. You're ready. And so I went out, and I was studying with Milton Fitzgerald. He said, audition for this play. And that's when I met James Burroughs. And he said, what are you doing here? I said, well, my teacher told me to come here. He says, but you're not in equity. I said, well, he wants me to be here. And he said, all right, I think you're right for this part. And he introduced me to his father, A. Burroughs. Mm-hmm. And I auditioned for the part, but they couldn't take me because I wasn't in equity. Mm-hmm. And I was down to like 2 people. And then I remember my friend saying, they wanted you, but they couldn't. They would have been in trouble because I wasn't in the union. And so I just went on the road, and I really fell in love with the craft. Mm-hmm. Take apart, that's the thing that excites me, the homework. To take apart and start getting into the soul and creating a background and creating a life and a story. Unfortunately, in television, it's very quick, and sometimes I cry a lot because I can't give as much as I can to the character. I just am not someone that just reads the part and does it. I don't know how to do that. Mm-hmm. Even if I'm doing a commercial, I do homework on a commercial. I get 400 commercials, by the way.
Wow.
But I take the craft very, very seriously. I really do. And then the last movie we did, sometimes the characters pop right out of you. They're in you, Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you never know what's going to happen. I was doing a commercial for A1 Steak Sauce, and Anne Bancroft saw me in it and said, I've got to work with that girl. Can you imagine?
Yeah. That's stuff.
And then she saw me in a series, and she says, oh, there she is again. She says, I've got to work with her. And how do you know? I'm Catholic, and I believe in God, and I believe that He orchestrates everything, because my career doesn't make sense, because I'm very square. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I never do drugs. Mm-hmm. I go home, I just do family and church. And I only had just a very few friends in the industry, and they were all churchgoers. And so I'm not someone that goes to parties. So it really worked out through God, because a lot of people are very good to me. Mm-hmm. I'm square. The nun. Like, I really fell in love, as I said, not to be an actress or someone, but the craft. And also, the great thing about doing what you love, like you're going to be a comic, mm-hmm. You're going to have to learn how to breathe. You have to learn how to project. Yep. You have to learn how to relax. You have to learn how to think. And so you really start developing yourself better. You learn how to think better, and then you have to learn and then your insecurities come in, so then you have to work on that. Mm-hmm. So you can't hide from yourself.
No.
An actress. Because you have to face your emotions, you have to face a lot. and you have to face all the fears and feel them. Not say, oh, it doesn't exist, but it really helps you grow as a person if you choose to. A lot of people are frightened and they do drugs and they destroy themselves. I've seen so many talented people. God, I don't even. They just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
And I really mean it, and just destroy themselves. I mean, one of my friends got into drugs, and what children did? He did. I mean, instead of trusting that it's hard, it's supposed to be hard. It's not easy getting into your emotions and feeling them, and it's the pain, and then turning it into almost like Stanislavski says, if you have a memory of something, it becomes poetry when you go back.
Right.
It's very poetic. And also, comedy choices are very different from dramatic choices. And that's something I had to learn. Because I'm naturally a comedian, which I don't like to say. I don't know why. I always like to say I'm just an actress, but they say I do comedy, so I guess I do. In fact, my writing partner said, I said, do you think I should say I do comedy? He says, yes. I said, because I never think of it as comedy. I don't think of it as acting.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think I'm funny. I think I don't even know. I just know that something inside of me, maybe my background, I'm from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That has to do, there's a certain timing from Brooklyn, too.
That might be
Is that what you wanted to answer? Did I answer it? I don't know.
Oh, no, you did just fine.
I also never liked actors when I was a kid. I used to like horses. My mother said, you're going to marry a horse. And that's I just thought everyone looked so old. Like Cary Grant, he had that something on his face and it bothered me. And I just thought everyone was so ugly. And Marlon Brando reminded me of an uncle I hated. and now when I became an actress, I started looking into the craft and I started respecting actors and the ones that knew their craft. And I mean, people ask me, who's your favorite actress? I say, Eleanor Duse. They say, who? I said, I've never seen her, but she's an Italian actress that I read about. And she's the kind of actress that I don't want to be like, but I would like to learn. I learned from her. I don't want to be like anybody else but myself.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's been done. I mean, who wants to be like anybody else? But I learned from good actors. And Paul Scofield is one of my favorites. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah, Man for All Seasons.
Yes. You know that I recommended it to actors to go to and get David Copperfield read by him because he does all kinds of voices. Mm-hmm. I got that from my niece. I get a lot from my niece for that. And also, Michael Chekhov has. I have so much of a history in my home with the craft. Anything else? I mean, I don't know if I answered.
Oh no, you answered it just fine. It's okay. You were in one of my favorite and probably the most underrated movie that Gene Wilder made, The World's Greatest Lover. It's hilarious. Oh my God. Those two scenes you're in, especially the first one, the first scene you're in when you guys are rehearsing, that is so funny. And then the second one is really, towards the end, is really, really poignant when he thinks that you're Carol Kane in the scene.
He starts choking me to death. Do you know that Danny DeVito's in there?
Danny DeVito's in there, yep.
Yeah, well, when I did that movie, Gene Wilder said, you know your stuff. So, and he said, after the movie, he said, I wrote a movie for you and I. And I said, but then he got involved with, what's her name?
Gilda.
Got married. Yeah, but he wrote a movie for us. See, comedy people know comedy people. They know when you're, I can't explain it. I even did something with Bill Murray they cut the scene out, and he said, I want to work with you again. But comedy people know comedy people that know their craft.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do anything. You just have to be yourself and do your craft.
Yeah.
Also, was hired with Al Pacino in the beginning, and I thought, oh, I'm not going to take this part because I don't do nudity. But I love to audition. It sounds so crazy because I like experimenting.
Yeah.
And when I first started, I auditioned for Serpico, and I got the part, and then I auditioned with Al Pacino, and it was very good. And his friend was going to direct it, but then they fired his friend. It got Sidney Lumet, and they replaced me with the producer's girlfriend. I was glad because I was going to do the part anyway. It was nude. I'm not going to do a nude scene.
Yeah.
Forget it. I don't care. So there's plenty of other things there. And I was always in commercials. I always had always had enough work. And commercials got me into movies. Because my commercial director came here, and the casting director said, I wish Candy was here. There's a small part here in Hearts of the West. And I believe in getting in touch with people. I mail. I contact people. I feel like everyone forgets me. My mother couldn't remember my name. How the heck are people going to remember them? My mother used to look at me and say, what the heck, which child is that? She even called me the dog's name. And I'd say, you have to yell out my name. So I always figure everyone forgets me. So when I came here, I sent my photo resumes out, and I was with William Morris.
Mm-hmm.
They were too lazy for me. I'm a New Yorker. They said, you know what I said to me? Well, sit by the pool and wait for us to call. I said, sit by the pool? I said, I don't do that. I work. And they think like, the girl's insane. And I wasn't going to listen to them. So I got in touch with everyone. And I got my own book. And so the casting director said, I wish Candy was here. But she's in New York. And her secretary said, she's here. She just sent me a photo resume. And I didn't have a car, so they picked me up. And I auditioned, and I got the part. And then William Morris calls me and says, you got a part in the movie. No kidding. And then, what was that? I don't know. I think a lot of things are overrated. I mean, I think the actor has to do their own stuff. Mm-hmm. Then from there, I left William Morris and went to Gersh, and they had me audition for this small part in House Calls.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of it. It Walter Matthau.
Oh, yeah, and Glenda Jackson, Art Carney. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Howard Deep was the same one that did Hearts of the West, and he likes character actors, and they wanted Anne Margaret for my part. And he wanted someone like a Judy Holliday that he said, when I saw Judy Holliday, I never thought that she went to bed with Robert Crawford. So he wanted that kind of innocence.
Yeah.
And Anne Margaret doesn't have that. And but Universal wanted Anne Margaret because she's a name. So, and I wasn't thinking of anything. I'm so confused with just trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing. Anyway, so I auditioned with Walter Matthau, and Walter says, you really want her? He says, yes. So they hired me. I mean, it's really something. And then the agents get all the credit.
Of course.
I mean, it's really something. And now I'm very proud of the actors. They're going ahead and they're doing their own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting out there. They're producing their own films. They're trying their own things. They're doing all kinds of things. And that's what I want to do next. That's what I'm going to do next.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about that later. No, I really admire. In fact, one of my friends says, you never say anything bad about an actor. I said, well, I'm not going to talk about my fellow actors. You don't know what they go through. And I'm not going to, they go up and down. One day everyone knows them. The next day they say, who? and they have to reestablish themselves, make their own stuff. And I've seen what it is. I mean, even our first Broadway play, we had so much, I don't even want to go into that. It was just really tough.
Yeah.
Just, but it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be easy. Or else, you just have a 9-to-5 job. This is not 9 to 5. It's a difficult journey, but it's a wonderful journey. A wonderful, terrifying journey. Terrifying sometimes.
What was it?
I had to come out to L.A. because I did a series in New York with Jimmy Coco, and they said, my agent, I was with Lee Morris, they said, well, you're known there now, and it did well within the industry. And they were right. I was wrong. So I came here with a suitcase, yearning 1 foot here and 1 foot in New York. But then I said, this is it. It's all here.
Yeah.
I knew it. It's all here. And thank God, praise God, I stayed here because all the New York actors were here. Barney Miller was New York actors. Odo was New York actors. Soap, everyone was theater. Everyone was theater. Now it's not that way, but it was when I came here.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're more television trained.
What was the difference between doing the TV show version of House Calls as opposed to the movie?
Well, well, the movie, you have more time.
Right.
I like movies because you have more time in between setups, and I love them. I love movies. It reminds me of theater more than anything, movies. Although some of the television shows are so special, one of my favorite parts was on a show, McKenna. I know it was only on one season, and I wish I can get that tape of that show. It was with Robert Walken. She's going to kill me. Something Robert. She'll kill me. Anyway, it was such a wonderful part. And some of the parts on television just as good as movies. I mean, I don't know the difference when people say, oh, what is it with the stage? With the stage, you have to project it. You have to have a stage voice.
Mm-hmm.
The audience has to hear you. It's like this. You know what I mean? And sometimes I get so annoyed with the movies when they speak so low, I can't understand them.
Yeah.
And I remember I was doing a Neil Simon play, Danny, and I remember someone saying that he hates when, the movie actors, you can't, he's afraid because you can't hear them.
Mm-hmm.
But in stage, you have to project, but the truth is the same. But you have to know that the audience has to hear. And I don't know, instinctively you do that, too.
Right.
I don't know. I'm a very instinctive actress, so although I know my craft. But also, you know what I had to do, Tommy? I had a very bad Brooklyn accent. I still have a New York accent, but I had a very, very bad Brooklyn accent. Hey, Charlie, how you doing? And the thing is, I had to work with a speech teacher, and I worked with Nora Dunphy Clark. She was the head of the speech department at NYU.
Mm-hmm.
I had to work on breathing. I had to work on walking. I had to learn how to stop using my hands. I'm Italian. Italians don't know how to. You take their hands away, they can't speak.
Yep.
And the thing is, and I'm Sicilian too, but the thing is I had to learn how to, and I still have to learn how to do things. Breathe and not hunch my shoulders. In New York, Brooklyn, you're always hunched over and you walk. I don't know what the heck you walk for. You copy everyone's walk. And I had to learn how to walk. I hired a ballet teacher to teach me how to stretch my body. I really, really did a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And isn't it wonderful?
Oh, yeah.
The craft makes you do your work. But look at you. You maybe even tap dancing may help you. You know what I mean? You don't know. Using your instrument is very important.
Well, I got metal in my leg from my car accident. I can't do much dancing these days. But
right, forget the dancing. Well, but I'm just saying, use your hands. You don't have to worry about that.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
What will you ask me?
Okay, let's talk about Fatso now.
Oh, my favorite.
Now, I watched this movie a lot growing up, and then when I was 23, I found out I had to lose weight. My grandmother, she was Sicilian Italian, and she fed me.
Yeah?
Yes, on my mom's side. My dad's Croatian, and my mom's Italian. And when I was growing up, she fed me a lot to make me happy and everything, and that carried into adulthood. And I took care of her for 9 months after I graduated high school, and then she passed. And for 4 years, I did not eat anything healthy. I got really overweight, and my cholesterol was attacking my heart, so I had to lose weight. So they assigned me to a nutritionist, and they put me on a 1,900 calorie a day diet. And what got me through that diet was watching this movie every day for like the first month I was on the diet. And it just reminded me what I had to do and stay on track. And I had just started doing comedy at that time, and writing jokes became more important than eating to me. And so
Did you write about eating?
Yeah, I did jokes about being overweight and stuff in the beginning.
No, because the last chapter in our book is about I have an addiction to chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was doing Fatso, I was overweight. I was heavy, I thought. People said I wasn't, but I was. I was my heaviest at that weight over there. And I didn't care anymore. I just said I don't even know if I want to be in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get this call to do Fatso. But I don't think I'm not doing what I want. And everyone gets excited and they want to hang in and just do anything. I don't. I want to do certain things, and everyone's different. Anyway, I was going to quit acting because I said it's just not doing it. My heart is breaking. I feel like I'm not growing, and no, I didn't know where to go. And then Ian Bancroft called me to do Fatso, but there's a history there. 2 years before that, she calls up my manager, who she knows, who was my agent, and greatest guy in the world, greatest manager in the world, but he retired. And honestly, he was Doris Roberts, a manager, and Richard Mulligan, Bill and Laura's manager. He had one of the, and he knew the industry. See, right now, I don't know anyone in the industry. I mean, it's just all over the place. It's global. It's so huge now.
Yeah.
And anyway, what happened is she calls him up and says, could you ask Candy if she will do this short for me with Estelle Reiner, Doris Roberts, and Dawn? So he sends me this little script, and I said, it doesn't seem like much of a part. He says, Candy, you have to work with her. I said, oh, all right. So I started looking in the part, and I started seeing something. And I started, it's so wonderful when you have time with a part. I started saying, I said, this girl, I started seeing her inner monologue and her inner love for this man. And she saw, not the way he saw himself, but she saw him perfect and loved him. And I said, this is a love story. So anyway, we did a short film, say about 10 minutes. American Film Institute. In fact, what I'm doing on Instagram is that I'm hoping to get in touch with young actors to show my journey in theater, how I started, and if they want to ask me questions, I will answer them, because I've answered quite a few questions, and I always like helping actors, but not as a teacher. I'm not a teacher.
Yeah.
Just sharing. I'm not going to be in class with you or something like that. I can't stand class. I mean, I liked it in the beginning, but I'm too old for that. But so we did it as a short, and it was so lovely, just working with her. And then I had a showing of it with other stuff that I did at the AFI. And then 2 years later, I get a call that when I'm going to quit acting. And I was going to quit. I just didn't. I said, I'll find something. I want to be always wanted to be an artist. I'll go to art school and just have a regular job or something. I just, you get so disappointed.
Yeah.
You get just
rejection.
Huh?
Rejection gets you down.
Oh no, I wasn't rejected.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't rejected. I never felt rejected in my life. I always thought, well, I'm not right for the part. I just felt like I wasn't doing the work I wanted to do. I mean, I just felt like I was going nowhere as an artist, not an artist, as an actress. And I thought, well, maybe I should be an artist like Michelangelo. That was my dream.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'll just go to art school and dedicate myself to that for the rest of my life and just have a regular job. But it wasn't meant to be. Because I get a call, and as I said, I never felt rejected.
Mm-hmm.
I always felt like, in fact, I used to say, are you sure I'm right for this part? Yes, you are. I said, I don't think I am. And a lot of times people would say, I think you can do this. I'd say, no, I can't, because I'm terrible with accents, and I can't do it. And I'm not going to have them hire me and ruin the show because I want it. I want the show to be good.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's not about rejection at all, because that's something I never felt. Because my mother and father, they loved us so much, and I don't even have it in my bones. But what I felt is my disappointment that I'm not growing as an actress. I'm not growing as a person, and I just felt like I can't live this way. So, and then I get this call from Anne, and it was just so wonderful because I could sink my teeth into a part and go into her soul, her heart, and mind, and become create a character. And I can't explain how I do it. That's another thing between God and I. But it's so delightful. It's the most wonderful thing when you have a script and that you can spend time with the character and live with her and start seeing things that you can't even tell people. Oh, it's just, and then, we were able to do it. And I was, but the only thing is that stupid wig that they put on me. I look like Clarabelle. Anne said, what the heck, what kind of a wig they made? It's so bad. And she had them fix it during the thing, and I look horrible in it. But I figured, maybe the character's supposed to look like this. So she wanted her more or less like, sort of like an angel that saves this man, because she doesn't see him. She doesn't care what he looks like. She just loves him.
Yeah.
She doesn't see heaviness. She sees the truth. She's really in love with him. Really, really in love with him. And that's what, and that wonderful love when you first fall in love. I remember that, because I was very much in love with my ex-husband, and he was and we had that kind of love, so I know that I can draw on that. And it was just, it was my favorite, I think it was my favorite journey, because I had time. I had time to work on the part. Usually everything is so rushed.
Mm-hmm.
And, I cry a lot. I do a lot of crying because I can't give the character enough.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I feel like I'm deserting the character. I take it very personally. I'm just not, as I said, I'm not someone that could just learn the lines and do it. I learn the lines first, yes. That's the most important. And get beneath the line and go over the line and go right out the line and go over it. And, but I think that was my favorite journey because I had time. And look at working with her was just the greatest. She really didn't have to direct me. She just said she trusted me. And she wrote me if you look at my website, she wrote me one of her letters, the most beautiful letter to me. So we connected very much.
Mm-hmm.
But God, now it's become like a classic. It's been showing on television. Everyone's been telling me they've been seeing it. I don't know where the heck it's showing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put a lot of things of it on Facebook because I want to show the development, not the development, I think in Facebook, Instagram, I showed the black and white with Doris Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed another Estelle Reiner, but Estelle Reiner, Carl Reiner's wife, she's
Right.
in it.
Yeah.
But what can I say? It's like you have that once in a while. That it's very. But I also had that on television a lot. I had a lot of moments on television. One of my favorite things was 10 Speed and Brown show.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody saw that. I played this goofy character. It was going to be recurring. I had thick eyeglasses. I couldn't see for the life of me. In fact, I kept on knocking into the camera because I couldn't see. Yeah. But it was this goofy, well, not to me, but she was a girl that, didn't have much of a life, and she wanted to become a private detective and work with them. She gets a trench coat at the end of the thing to show them that she's... And then Stephen Cannell, Jay Cannell, was going to have me recur, but then they went off the air. So it's God's will. I always say, I don't get disappointed. I just say it's God's will.
Absolutely.
You know what? In the beginning, I have to share some. I never told anyone when I was doing something because I never knew if it was going to be on. So I remember being on hold for 4 commercials, and I got a little excited. And then they canceled me. They used someone else for all 4 of them. And I said, that's it. I will not get excited until it's on the air, and even then, I'll just I'm not getting excited about anything. I made a decision, and I'm not going to say anything until it's on the air. And my mother said to me, I know you're in a TV series because you're in TV Guide. I said, all right, yeah, I guess I am. And then my mother had asthma, and when I was on road, I said, I don't want to tell her. So I told her I was going to be on Rhoda, and the part was cut out. Well, she had an asthma attack because of it. She said, oh, no, how am I going to face everybody? I got to tell the footsteps and the guard. What are they going to say? I said, Ma, that's why I'm not going to tell you anything. It's only a show. And so what happened is they took my part out, but they wrote me a part in as Joe's secretary, and they wanted to hire me, but I was doing so many. I did about 19 pilots. There's so many pilots.
Yeah.
And so I had to go with that instead of going on with Rhoda because I wanted to, try my own. Who knows? But I had fun there too. The writing was so good.
Yeah.
But and I remember saying, all right, you know what? I think I'm going to try it again. I did That's Life. You probably never heard of it. It was Paul Silvina, Ellen Burstyn, and Heather Page Kent. I think her name is now Helen Duburo or something like that. And they gave me this part as fat lady, but they put a fat bodysuit on me. And I loved the part. It was wonderful. I said, I think I want to tell everybody. So I told everybody. 9/11 happened. I said, oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
It went on another time, and I said, that's it. That's a sign. I'm not saying anything until it's out there. I just like to do it, and if it comes, it comes. If it goes, it goes, And then you never know if your part's going to be cut out, if it's in. And the last movie I did in Zeno, I didn't want to tell anybody. Well, we did a showing at Paramount. I don't know when it's going to open up here.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if I want to be in it. So I went and I said, oh, I am in it. And the part, I love the part. I really, really loved it. It was one of my favorites, too. And I said, oh, but I didn't know until I saw the movie. But sometimes you do a movie and they cut your part out.
Yeah.
And you can't take that personally. You just have to say, well, it was right. And then I did another movie. I was supposed to have a co-starring role. They cut my part down to just a few scenes, and I said, where am I? And I said, damn it, And that's why I just, So anyway, go ahead. Wait, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. The scenes between you and Dom and Fatso are just magical. He reminds me in this movie so much of Ernest Borgnine and Marty.
You know, I never realized it. You're right.
Yeah, being an overweight, middle-aged Italian guy who meets his true love. The same concept.
Yeah. Oh, I never thought of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I really fell in love with each other, the characters. I think the characters, you go through, I don't know how to explain it. You go through, it's almost like your alter ego, or your alter, another part of you, falls in love. And I think both of us fell in love with each other as characters.
Yeah.
Because we had this love for each other, and we just meshed together.
Mm-hmm.
I really loved being with him, but I mean, outside of the film, no. But drawing it, yes, as a character, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a funny thing. You don't feel that way when you're off camera.
Yeah.
And when you're on camera, you go into this other imagination. Your imagination goes through another. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
Well, I even felt that way for Rodney. I really loved him on camera.
Yeah.
Off camera, we never even spoke.
Wow.
It's a funny thing, but on camera, things happen. I don't know. It's a character.
Yeah, my favorite line you have in the movie is when you say to him, when he's laying in bed, Christ fell 3 times and he was Christ.
Yeah, right. I thought it was funny. I never know what's funny. Well, he did fall, and I felt so bad for him,
Yeah.
I felt, and the thing is, I guess the actors have an imagination like a child, where you go into the scene and you really believe it.
Mm-hmm.
You believe it's really happening. And your imagination takes over that you almost wonder, where am I after a while? I don't know. I think that's why I get along with children so well. I love playing with children because I go into their world very easily.
Yeah.
Adults, I have a problem.
I also love when you correct Dom on the fact that Edward G. Robinson was Italian, not Jewish.
No, he said he was Italian. I thought he was. I thought he said he was Jewish. I thought he was Italian.
Yeah, he was Italian, Edward G. Robinson.
No, he was really Jewish.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Well, I didn't know it either. He improvised that moment.
Oh, nice.
No, but you look it up. He was Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what he did? He played so many Italian roles. That was the whole thing.
Yeah.
But he is Jewish. It's really something. You yearn to be in movies and shows and a play that is like I get asked to do a lot of plays, but I turn them down because I don't want to. I don't know how to do too many things at once. I put my heart and soul in it and just give there. I don't like to do this and that and that. I just like to do one thing in detail.
Mm-hmm.
In a play, I give up everything just to do the play.
Yeah.
I can't do that now. Unless it's really something like for a really great writer and for Broadway or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Did you at least have fun working with Rodney Dangerfield on Easy Money?
Oh, I loved him. He was so sweet. He was so kind, really kind.
Mm-hmm.
And he saw me in. I auditioned for the part, years ago, and I didn't get it. The director felt I was too pretty.
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted an ugly girl for Rodney's wife. So Rodney and he disagreed. And then Rodney saw me in Fatso and House Calls, And he says, that's my wife. That's the one I want. That's the girl I would marry.
Mm-hmm.
And he flew Jennifer, Jason Lee, and I to New York to meet him. And he says, that's my wife and daughter. That's who I want. And I'm very happy I had that part because I was able to work on it. And you know, because movies, you have more time, most of them anyway. You have more time. Well, the last one we didn't have much time to work on it all, but it worked out. But I liked working with him, but he was very nervous in our love scene. Our love scene, we just talked. And I kissed his skin. And, and his producer said he's very nervous, so I had to go to his place and work on the scene with him. And I remember his maid was there, and I brought my daughter, and he says, what'd you bring her for? I mean, my daughter in the movie. I said, are we all going to work together? He said, no, just us. So we worked together on the scene, and he was just a gentleman and very nice. But everyone always is to me. I don't know. I never have, you know, people say I have all this problem. I don't know, maybe something I look like, or nobody bothers at me. Never. But he was very gentle, very kind and loving, and, you know, a little frightened, because he wasn't used to, he was just used to joke.
Mm-hmm.
Joke. But this was more like, you know, I guess another love story, right? Something like that. I don't know. Crazy love story.
Yeah. You know,
but I think he really knows his comedy. I mean, I wasn't funny in the movie at all because I played his wife. But I don't think so. I don't see any parts that I was funny at all.
You had one good line in the movie when they're all at the table eating dinner, you know, and Jeffrey Jones's character is used to you know, eating, you know, fancy chicken, you know, and he says, what do you call this chicken? And you said shake and bake, and just the way you said it, it sounded so like, you know, white blue collar compared to his white collar, you know.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see any part where I was funny at all in it, and it was fine because that's how I thought the character should be. Because he was larger than life, and she just saw him. She just loved him. Also, that was another love story. She loved him. Didn't care if he was fat, drunk, this, that. You know, and she loved him. So I was able to have time to work on the character. And Jennifer Jason Lee is a brilliant actress. She was just very dedicated. They were all wonderful, I have to say it. But, you know, we all didn't socialize. We all went our own way after, maybe because I'm a private person, I don't socialize. Yeah, I just go home. He thought something was wrong with me. He says, you don't do anything. You don't drink, you don't do drugs. You just think. And I would go to rehearsal, dressed up with a nice dress and everything. My teacher taught me that. He says, you always go to work dressed up, and then you create the character. The character's a slob. You create that, but you don't come in as a slob. And I would always, at rehearsals, I'm always like wearing something nice. I always feel I should do that. But I liked working with him. I like all my fellow actors. I never had any problem with anyone. Well, maybe because I go home. I don't socialize. I really don't know them personally. I don't know Ann Banks personally.
Yeah.
I don't know Don personally. The only one I really knew was Ron Carey. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, he played Junior in Fatso.
Yeah, and he was my best friend, and you know, he died, and I'm still best friends with his wife. But that's about it. Everyone else I really worked with, I really don't socialize with.
Yeah.
I never thought about it. You know, I'm just not in a Hollywood or a New York crowd. I just go home.
Yeah, some actors are like that. I've certainly met my share of them, you know.
I don't know. I don't like to hang out. I remember when I was first starting out, my ex-husband, he was a stand-up comic, and they were at the Improv till 4 o'clock in the morning, and I said, I was married right out of high school, so I said, look, I cannot do this. friends can come to our place 24 hours a day, because I was the only one that had a regular job.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, but I will not hang out. So I didn't. I just can't. I just can't sit down and hang out and do nothing. I just don't know how comics do that, but they stayed up and watched each other and learned and stayed up until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning or something like that and tried out stuff. And I just, I don't have that nature. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how, each one is different. Each one, you find your own way and you find your own journey in comedy. Who knows? But I think you have to be true to yourself first.
Right. I used to stay up late and hang out and do all that stuff there. Now I just do my set and then I leave and then I go to another one or something.
Yeah, you learn by doing.
Yeah.
And you watch only the best. You're not going to watch crap,
Oh, I saw lots of crap.
Oh, God, I know, up there. But I saw a lot of wonderful things. They would do improv at the improvisation, and when it first opened in New York. And
Catch a Rising Star.
My ex-husband worked there. I never went there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was doing theater, and I was on the road, and but he worked there. We went different paths. I went to the... I wanted to be a dedicated actress. He loved stand-up comedy. He just loved it. And he also worked with a partner, so they sang together, too.
Oh, nice.
He played the guitar, and he played the ukulele.
Nice.
Yeah. It was, and they worked in clubs all around. And he did what he wanted to do. He wanted to come to California, but he didn't work out somehow.
Oh.
Yeah, well, it wasn't meant to be. He's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Died. Yeah. So anyway, go ahead. Anything else?
Yeah, tell me about the book that you wrote, because I'm very fascinated by it.
You mean the book that my partner and I wrote?
Yeah.
God, Please Give Me Patience and Hurry is on Amazon. Oh, and it's also now in 15 countries. I started writing it because we wrote a TV comedy series, which we're hoping to get together this year. It's done already. In fact, we wrote 2 of them. And a lot of people are interested and put us off. They're doing this project, that project. So, and they wait. And I'm not someone that likes to wait. Well, I don't know who likes to wait. Probably God, but not me. Anyway, I started writing these stories to God.
Mm.
I got together with my partner and I said, I'm writing this book. It's coming. It just keeps on flowing out of me. I don't know where it's coming from. And he said, oh, that sounds good. And I said, the name of it is God, Please Give Me Patience and Hurry. And it really is, if you read it, it's a very good monologue for actors. In fact, I would recommend for you the guy's part, where he's first married and he complains about his wife who is now looking like Mrs. Frankenstein. But they're really monologues. So I read it at one of these producers' place, and they said, I'd like to film this. So I said, well, we're writing it as a book, so I don't know. And he still wants to film it. I haven't done that yet. And he wanted to do in virtual reality. I don't even know what that is, but he showed me. And he's into that. So we put him on hold. But it all came out of frustration. And the characters popped out of me. The stories, the settings, the things, they just popped out. And we're 48. 48 letters to God. Now, and it was too much. So we cut it down to 24. And Michael worked with me, and somehow he's magical. He comes from California, a Jesuit background. I was a young married Brooklyn Sicilian. just educated from the arts and acting and all that other stuff. And he has this strict education. And somehow we come together and it works out. So God blessed me with the right partner. And so with him, we were able to put this together, and his voice is in it, and so is mine. Mm-hmm. So in each story is really a comedy monologue. I mean, it really is. So someone said, why don't we do a reading for it? A lot of people wanted to do a reading. My niece did a reading of the Looking for Mr. Right. As I said, it's really for actors. Mm-hmm. And I think someday I want to go to Samuel Friends and see if they put it on the show. But I really enjoyed writing it, and we really enjoyed working together on it. We laughed so much because the characters are very funny. And the last chapter is about my chocolate addiction. It's a true story. Mm-hmm. My chocolate addiction, how I went to Chocoholics Anonymous, and how I joined, I don't want to say the name, $500 to get rid of my chocolate addiction. And I went to chocolate therapy. All this is true. Mm-hmm. And how I would order chocolate at See's Candy and make believe it wasn't for me because I felt guilty. and how I would, try to join Weight Watchers. I joined Weight Watchers, and I would weigh the chocolate because you're not allowed to have 1 ounce.
Yeah.
And then I'd keep on weighing 1 ounce, and then I always ripped the refrigerator doors off and getting that chocolate because I put the chocolate back in the refrigerator and started watching television, but then I started watching the refrigerator, and because the chocolate was in there. And then I would talk about my love of smell of chocolate, and I think you can relate to it probably.
Yeah, and you say you're not funny. That's hilarious because it's so true.
Well, that's it. Well,
yeah.
No, but I mean, if you saw, and then there's, what I said to my writing partner, I said, I want to tell you something. Jesus was very mean to his mother. I mean, and then I said, I have this story I wrote to God that, you shouldn't, when your mother said, where have you been for 3 or 4 days, something like that, and he says, I'm in my father's house. I said, he's lucky she's Jewish. She was Jewish, because if my mother ever spoke to me like that, I could, she smacked me all over the place. So, and I thought these are all true stories. And all the things that I heard from people, I mixed them in, they all come from truth. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
And it's my story and other people's story mixed together. But I don't know, it doesn't come from fantasy, it's all true.
Yeah. Yeah.
But life is funny. People are very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me see over here. I don't know if you have this one. I'm trying to think of these titles here. Oh, God. I'm sorry. Wait.
It's okay.
Yeah, my sufferings as a mother and wife is one of them. My problems with Mr. Right, the lottery. Mm-hmm. My problems with cigarettes and smoking. That's not me. That's my niece. Oh, God, she should only know. My decision to clean my closet. Well, that's when I was going to commit suicide. Rural needed, born in Brooklyn, my first year of marriage. That would be very good for you to do. My first year of marriage. Wait, let me see. My first year of marriage, page 47, because I think that's the guy's thing. He talked about his wife, about becoming, she was so wonderful in the beginning, and I married a little over a year. My wife has become Mrs. Frankenstein. Even his is like her. But it's beginning to look like Mr. Frankenstein. Me, I'm working hard as a slave. You see, I'm So far, that hasn't worked. Anyway, that's the beginning of it. He's very funny. He's very funny.
That's pretty good.
He's very funny. This was a lot of Michael stuff. I just love, and a lot of it comes from the truth. Look.
Mm-hmm.
I now have earplugs. This is again. She doesn't shut up. Maybe we should get a divorce. Oh, anyway. It's just funny. And we laughed through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you have the book. Do you have the book?
What's the book?
God, please give me patience and hurry.
Oh no, I haven't gotten it.
Oh, you're gonna order it?
Oh, you bet I will.
Oh yeah, it's on Amazon. But I think that this one about the chocolate you'll see. Let me see about my chocolate addiction. I just get such a kick out of it. In fact, someone said they want me to do it at the Matrix. They said, why don't you I'll do my readings and you do yours. But I have a secret. Dear God, I have a secret, but I think everyone is on to me. I have an addiction, and it's getting worse. I don't smoke, drink, or take drugs. Chocolate is my addiction. I am a chocolate hole, and my life has become unmanageable. How long do I have to wait to outgrow this chocolate addiction? I'm in my mid-30s. Well, not anymore. It all started in my 20s when I was a kid. I liked chocolate, but as I grew up, I loved chocolate. Does chocolate addiction run in families? Maybe there should be a new 12-step program called Adult Children of Chocoholics. I heard that alcohol addiction runs in the family. They say it's in the genes. I don't remember anyone with an addiction to chocolate in my family.
Mm-hmm.
But me, being Italian, I could see sauce and cheese addiction. Maybe even salami addiction, but not chocolate. Well, anyway, it goes on and on about the chocolate thing. But it all comes from the truth. Every one of them comes from the truth.
Mm-hmm.
What is this one about? People who lie. Dear God, why didn't I know now what I should have known then? I could have, should have, would have done everything different. If I could have figured out people who lie. I was raised, well, anyway. But it's all funny. I wanted to have some serious things in here, but Michael said that'll be book number 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Dear God, I think the luxury cruise travel is overrated. Where is the love boat in real life? You know, I prayed for a miracle to go on a cruise for free. That could really be happy. The ocean, fish, my hair blowing in the strong breeze, romance, all on this cruise. Thanks to you and your mother, my prayers were answered. It all seems so romantic in movies and ads and everyone dancing, hugging, kissing, meeting the one you've waited for your whole life. Well, anyway, the thing is, what happens is she starts throwing up on the cruise, so she ruins the whole thing. Yeah, you'll see it. She ends up in the bathroom. It happened to me. I wanted to go on a cruise with the Love Boat, and I ended up, doing it. But I didn't even know the Love Boat. I wanted to go on a cruise with my work, and God gave me the Love Boat. It was so romantic, and I was throwing up my God. I just can't.
You were on the Love Boat?
Yeah, 3 of them. Yeah, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Mexico, and then I went. They had 2-hour movie with Ernest Borgnine, Shelley Winters, Marie Osmond, Mirrors Baxter Burney, the whole crew, John James, and we went to Rome, Capri, Venice, Turkey, Monte Carlo, Monaco. Is that the same as Monte Carlo? Monaco? Well, and it's south of France.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't do well on cruises. I remember saying, there's too much water here. I mean, there's too much. And then I remember when they said, the writer said, just keep quiet, let her talk. And I said, that moon is so beautiful. I wish we had the same moon in California. And she said, don't tell her. Don't tell her that there's only one moon. But it was so ridiculous. Anyway, but it was very hard for me on a cruise. I stayed cruise or what?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I've never been on a cruise, but I've taken ferry rides.
Oh, God. I have to take, I mean, I don't know what it is. My stomach just, well, anyway, it's about the romantic cruise that turned out to be a mess. And it was. It's a lot of part of me. It was so romantic in Italy. Venice, Capri, and you're just dying because what am I doing here alone filming? You should be alone, you know?
Yeah.
Stupid. And I didn't know that was so romantic there. I just, anyway. I enjoy it now thinking about it.
It seems to me that you've always worked steadily throughout your career. You haven't struggled much.
No, I struggled.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled. There are times when you don't, your agent somehow doesn't know what the heck to do with you, and you change, and then you go back, and then you change, and then you go someone else, and you go here, and it's, oh no, I struggled. Uh-huh. I can't say, I work a lot, but I also am, I'm very motivated. Mm-hmm. I just don't wait for an agent. I get in touch with everyone. I connect people in the industry, and I just keep in touch. That's how I mostly get my work. And the thing is, sometimes, like, my last job, well, they were looking for me. They found me. They didn't know where to find me because I was switching agents so many times. And now I mean, I'm with my agent. I like him, and but I think that I have to do something else. Mm-hmm. I think I have to do. Well, I want to do short films right now, and the comedy series very, very much because I really love it. When I love something, I will really go all the way with it. Like I started loving the book. I started loving the characters in the book, but they're all real. And there's moments where my friend, like there was one story that I have in there is about her husband can't find anything, and she has to babysit for her grandchildren, and she will have to put labels on everything because he can't find anything. And that's my friend's husband. Mm-hmm. He's looking for salt. All right. I'm on the first shelf. The salt's not there. I mean, how can you not know where the salt is? Second shelf. I can't find it. And then the kids are saying, what the heck? Dad can't find anything? All right. Doesn't seem to be there. I mean, anyway. It's about, a woman can relate to it a lot because a lot of men don't know where anything is. You know, the wife does a lot. I don't know, but nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays I think men do much more.
Yeah.
What the heck are we saying? What are we talking about now?
You were talking about struggling. That's all.
No, there's, oh no. When sometimes your agents and you, they don't know what to do with you anymore. And the thing is, I know people are patient and saying, oh, you shouldn't leave it. It's a big agency. They have a lot of clout. I say, yeah, a lot of clout, but where am I going? And so I switched, and then I don't know. Then it was a nightmare at one time because my agency, I had a wonderful agent. We finally connected, and they fired him. He was there 25 years. They fired him.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to say the name of the agency. So I went with another agent. She opened up a new agency. So I went with them, and I got them a lot of work. I was doing independent film. I was doing series. And then they messed up so much for me, and then she left.
Oh, wow.
Well, I was so exhausted. And then I decided, I'll get a manager. Then he didn't know what the heck he was doing. And then I got into another agency, and then they fired that guy, and they closed. Then I got into another agency, and that was all right. But then they couldn't find her because she had a drinking problem. And really, I'm telling you. And then I had another agency, telling you, I feel like I was on a merry-go-round. Now, I've been all over the place the last few years. And this one died, that one died, this one left, they're going, this one, I said, I just signed the contract. They all left.
Yeah.
I said, who am I working with now? Why don't you tell me? So I left them, and then I went to this other agency the last few years. I said, let me just stay here, and I'm going to redo, I don't know what the heck is happening. I mean, I got work there, but I really do a lot of work because I don't know what to do. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. but I guess it's kind of interesting. I don't know. That's why I think I wrote the book.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I admire how. See, a lot of actors now, they're becoming producers and they're doing their own stuff. I think that is, if you look at everything, they are very smart now. They're not waiting for the agents. They're not waiting for this. They get their own scripts. They get their own thing, and they propel themselves. They
Right.
have their managers take care, and they produce their own stuff. So I don't know how it's going to work out right now, but I'm going to go into another adventure and risk. I like risking.
Awesome. I know you'll do just fine.
I love you. God bless you.
Oh, my pleasure. Is there anything you have coming out or anything that you want to plug?
Well, my book, of course, God Please Give Me Patience and Hurry on Amazon. But the movie Vino is one of my favorite movies I've been in because it's with Ed Asner and Sean Young. It's written by Leonardo Foti and directed by him. I think he's a genius. I think he has Neil Simon. I call him the Italian Neil Simon.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the funniest movies I've ever been in. And my character has gray hair, and I never know that she's funny, but she's really a different character that I want people to see, because I'm older now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm old. Oh. And I'd like to see that character. And then also, I'm going to be working with Jennifer Candy, John Candy's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote something for her. She and I wrote something, and I said, Jennifer, this is for you. And anyway, she loved it, and this is what, this year, I'm hoping to film that.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
It's a mother and daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about a daughter that can't seem to find Mr. Right. She can't find the right guy. It's always a new boyfriend. What was it? The tattoos on his nose or something like that, or earrings, but and I happen to love Jennifer Candy. You ever see her work?
Yeah, I loved her father, of course.
She is the sweetest person in the world, and she's wonderful in the movie. I've been looking for someone to play my daughter, but she and I have that light skin and the blonde hair, and I said, oh my God! I said to my partner, she's perfect. And then I sent her the script, and then I have another short we're going to do with Joseph D'Onofrio, and Chris Victor is going to be our producer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping we get this other actor. I don't want to say his name until he says okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it really is. We're going to do three short films, and then we're going to do a pilot. That's our next thing.
Nice.
And that's my job this year, and I have to get everyone riled up as usual. I'm going to go get it. By the way, I have to recommend something.
Okay. My phone's about to die, so let's wrap this up. Go ahead.
The Magic of Thinking Big is a book that will motivate you if you read the part on action.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
All right? Okay, honey, let's keep in touch. And I want to see your work, and if you could send me a clip or something, because when we do this thing, you'll see, I'm going to be writing a sketch comedy, so I'm going to be writing sketches for people that are funny.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you have something you want to send me on my you want my I'll send you my email.
I got your email. Yeah.
I want to send you something because my mind works very well when I see something, and then it works because I have another. I'm developing 4 other new characters,
Mm-hmm.
and they all and my partners love it.
Awesome.
Because they come very easily to me. I don't know why. Maybe because of my crazy background. Okay, God bless you.
Yes, Candice, thank you so much for taking the time today. God bless you.
I love the new generation that's going to be starting, and I love when people are starting out, and I'm here to help.
Oh,
okay?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
God bless you, honey. Don't forget to send me a clip of your work. Right?
Okay, I will.
God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, there you have it. Candice Azzara. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Candice. I'm glad that we got to have this deep and meaningful conversation about the business and honing your craft and what have you, and it was amazing. Thank you so much, and we will be in touch. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, add me as a friend on Facebook, join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes!